Thom Spisak is a man of many hobbies, an engineer's brain obsessed with the tiniest aspects of whatever he's working on, and the spirit of an artist experimenting with the interplay of those particulars in his search for perfection. In this conversation, I found that starting to run a half Ironmans at the age of 63 was probably one of the least remarkable parts of his life. I hope you will join me as we go and meet Thom Spisak. The beginning of the conversation is also brought on by a sticker I had on one of my boxes that said Yak Samash, which brought forward our shared Czech heritage. So that's what we were discussing before.
Up and drove us up to Brezov, and we had a little book in the car, Slovak to English, and we took the words, and she had a English.
Yeah,
that's how we tried to communicate. And her daughter was coming in the next day to help with us and see us.
Mm-hmm.
And she works as a nanny in England, in London. And when she came in, we did more in 5 minutes than we did the whole day or day and a half looking through the book.
Yeah.
To find out that nobody wanted to talk to us or give us answers because they thought we were coming over from Heredity to take over the properties.
Oh, okay.
Because
so like an inheritance.
Back then, the property automatically went to the next oldest in line, right?
Yeah.
In the lineage. And my brother was like, we don't want your property. We just want to visit who are our cousins and aunts and uncles. And to come to find out, there wasn't many left.
Yeah.
As soon as we figured that out and cleared that air, oh my God, everybody was, hey, come on over. Hey, let's talk.
Yeah.
But it was that's the mentality. They thought we were coming to get their property from them.
Huh. So you met them in Germany or
no, in Slovakia?
In Slovakia?
So then my brother came back, and a couple years later, I went back again.
Yeah.
And visited, and she was taking English classes, so my cousin, Margita, spoke much better English, and so did Yaroslav. And we got along a lot better. We drove up through the Spiska Castle, the Spiska Nové. My last name is Spisak.
Yeah.
So I was just curious. And then we went to the mountains in the Carpathia Mountains in a little town called Maranska Huta. And that's where my grandmother and grandfather came from.
Yeah.
And we went to the church where they were married back in 18 whatever. And maybe it was maybe 19 something. And I stayed at my grandmother's house where she was born and raised. It was like a little run-down little cabin, but that's the house they lived in.
Yeah. I mean, just to have that experience.
So it was very humbling to go through all that.
Yeah.
And to do it with my older brother meant a lot.
So what year was this?
That was 2000, I want to say it was 11 or 10.
Yeah.
Then I went back in probably 2014.
So you were mentioning before that you couldn't get in there because of your...
No, as we were there talking with them,
yeah,
they were all complaining. Why haven't you come over earlier? Why didn't you come over in the 90s? Why didn't you come over in the 80s? Why didn't you come over in the 1970s?
Yeah.
And I told them, look, I'm in the military. I had a clearance. I could not go over because of my military background. They wouldn't let me. I have to wait 20 or 25 years for that security clearance to lapse.
Yeah.
And,
so this was like Americans saying you couldn't go over there. It wasn't like necessarily
yeah. I mean, I could have probably applied and went through some kind of process, but I was too busy trying to live my life here and get my life established. So.
Yeah. Didn't have 7 years to spend on that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Yakshimas.
Yeah. Now,
I was raised Catholic. So.
Well, my dad was. We were Congregational Methodist, slightly more conservative Methodist, and now we're going to a Lutheran church, and I'm pretty much just.
That's the other the unusual part.
Yeah, I'm like, as long as we both believe in the same basic things, we've got more in common than different. I don't think we should fight so much over it.
It's funny you said Lutheran. I was in Germany. We went to a town, Wartburg Castle. It's in central Germany. It's in the old eastern Germany.
Yeah.
And that's where Johann Sebastian Bach was born and raised.
Yeah.
So some people took me over there, and they wanted to show me Wittenberg Castle, and I didn't know it, but that's where Martin Luther wrote the Protestant Bible. Was in this room in that castle, hiding from the Pope, who had in lack of better words, a contract out on him.
Yeah.
He was trying to have him killed because he kept saying to people, "Why are you paying the money into the basket at the end of the sermons? You can't buy your way to the Lord, you know."
Yeah.
So, and then Pope's like, "Oh, you're taking money out of my pocket." Oh, man, it's just what you learn by traveling.
Yeah. Especially in a place like that. Like what we think of as old as 200 years, 250, you know?
I went to Israel, and I've been there like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
That's a trip. I walked on the Great Wall of China. I've been through Beijing, Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah. What was most of that after the military or during?
All after the military.
All after?
Yeah, so, I worked for a company in Dallas, telecommunications company.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're not recording all this.
No, I'm already going.
Oh, you're already going?
Yeah. These are the conversations you want to have, you know? Have it good and natural. Yeah. Anything you want me to cut out there that's secret?
There's nothing secret. So for everybody, I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania, up in the mountains, and then the first 15 years there, I moved down with my sister in the D.C. area. My mom said, "You're a special kid. You have a real good head on you. I want you to go with your sister and don't get corrupted by all the sleazery," as for example would say, or corruption and the drugs and all that kind of stuff in town. Yeah. So she wanted me to get out of there, so I went with my sister, graduated there, and then I tried to make it on my own, and it reminds me of today. Today, inflation is high, recession, you can't afford nothing. Apartments, you can't afford an apartment unless you have 3 people with you to try to pay the rent.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was for me back in 1975, 76. And I said, okay, screw this, man. I was driving from Northern Virginia all around the Beltway and up into Laurel, Maryland to go to work every day. Don't get me wrong, it was great pay, good people, a lot of fun. But it kind of reminded me of today for kids, young kids today. Trying to make a living, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I decided to go in the Navy because when I was in the high school, I still had to sign up for my draft card. Came back as 1A, and I was just waiting for the day. But then I got my draft card, and right after that, they said, "Oh, we're canceling the draft." So I said, "Okay." Whew. But I couldn't find a job that's closer to pay good. I couldn't get an apartment. You know, it was just so screwed up back then. So I said, I'll join the Navy. And they said, "Hey, you're in the top percent of your whatever. We want you to go into the Polaris program." I said, "Okay, whatever." Needless to find out, it was advanced electronics for nuclear submarines. So I ended up going to sub school, and you have to go through that for psychiatric. Mm-hmm. Can you be in an enclosed space and have water rushing in on you and having to do all this kind of crap? And I was 19. I thought it was fun. Past that, went down to A school. We learned about electronics, then advanced electronics, where you have to design your own antennas and all your FM receivers, and you have to do it all with components on a board. And so I had to build stuff. But basically, I got a good education. Got basically an associate's degree in electrical engineering. And my A&C school, got to meet a lot of real good people. Got assigned to a submarine, and it was a nuclear ballistic missile submarine. There was 41 of them at the time. And there's 3 types of submarines. There's a diesel, which everybody probably correlates to black and white movies, World War II movies and stuff like that. And then there's the fast attack nuclear submarines. And then there's ballistic missile submarines. So I went on the ballistic missile, and one missile, it was like 6 feet in diameter and 33 feet tall, and had multiple warheads on it. Nuclear.
Yeah.
You launch one of 16 of those, and it just popped over, and you can get rid of a country easy in one missile. So it's called 41 for freedom, but it was a deterrent. If you launched a missile, you failed.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So what was it like sleeping knowing that that's on the same ship as you?
Yeah, sleeping 50 feet from a reactor.
Yeah.
Double shielded, yeah.
You hope.
Yeah, well, we had to wear a TLD badge on our belt at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And the doc every month would come up and do a Geiger counter on you. And say, how many rad did you get this month?
Yeah. And,
you know, I can't speak for any other countries, but our submarines were really safe.
Yeah.
We from the port of view, we would peel on the port, and the next thing you know, I'd be sitting up topside in the sun going, oh, yeah, I'll go to the beach. You know, I had my TLD on. And the doc would come back and go, whoa, you're off the charts, man. You know, where were you? We need to trace where you were. You got too much radiation. I said, well, I was on the upper deck in the sun. He goes, man, don't take your TLD outside with you like that.
Just UV rays, I guess? Or?
Oh, man, that sun right there, you get a lot of radiation.
Yeah.
Sunburn, suntans.
Yeah.
So, trust me, when you come off that submarine, you're white. Not to be racist or nothing, but if you're a Caucasian person, you come off there, you're like milky white.
Yeah.
And it just, the radiation will really get to you. But I had 8 patrols. You go out for 2-3 months at a time. So I spent over 24 months underwater.
Yeah. And that just solid, like...
Underwater.
No sunlight or anything like that?
No. You're down.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 150 to a couple hundred feet.
Wow.
At all times. And you're putzing around. I'm sure you've probably seen War Games, the movie, with Matthew Broderick, and let's play a game, you know?
Yeah, I may have seen it a while back.
Well, they go, let's go to DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2, let's go. Yeah. If we were normally at 3 or 4, and if they have an incident that happens or you alert status, then you go to F2. And if you go ready to launch missiles or fire control, you go to 1. And I've only been there once. And been all over the world in that submarine.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say that. I should say the Atlantic, North Atlantic, and the Med. But,
so what were you thinking when you got to that?
You don't think. You train.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yeah.
And
did you ever think about it later, or was it just...
Well, we would always sit there and say, if we ever had to push the button...
Yeah.
Or be a part of pushing the button, how much longer we got to live?
Yeah.
You know, you launch your missiles, you turn around and you go a different direction, you dive, you go flank speed, and how far can you go before a nuke lands where you were at?
Yeah. What's going to be left when you come back up?
So is the submarine going to be there? Do you break up and sink, or does it miss you, or can you survive? Or then, if you survive, where would you go on this planet? Because it'll be nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So we always thought those scenarios. But you say, hey, why worry about something like that? If we did that, we failed anyway. So
yeah.
We didn't do anything that drastic. So that was good. I survived that, made 8 patrols, came back, and got out. And there's so many stories that could be tied with that. I'm not even going to go into them here. There's a few funny ones. But I don't know if you want to talk about it offline or later or what. Or how nasty can I get?
Well, I'm trying to think. I think I got some family members who listen.
Well, I'll just say one. When I go to a party and everybody asks me, how do you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
You go, well, there's toilets. You go, okay. I said, yeah, but they're not your typical toilet. There's a tank underneath. You go, you turn on the salt water, and you fill the bowl, and you fill a big ball valve that's like a 9-inch ball valve. You do it, and poof, it goes down. You close it, make sure that the water covers the valve, turn off the water, and you're done. Right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're tired, and you get up in the middle of the night, you're like, you go and you do your thing, and you kind of didn't see the sign that the the guy on watch is blowing sanitaries. You have to empty these things, right?
Yeah.
And we empty them into the sea. So you have to pressurize the tank. So they put signs, do not go to the bathroom. Or if you do, don't flush.
Yeah.
So, it's happened 2 or 3 times. I'd be sleeping, and the next thing you know, it was like, just, man, this noise. And then it's, so this guy gets up, goes over, goes to the bathroom, he forgets, turns on the salt water, opens the valve, and poof! And it's all over him, the face. It goes up, hits the ceiling, goes around, into the showers, out the shower, knocks him off his feet. One of those kind of things. And you fall down in nothing but literally the waist. And it's just, it's funny now, but at the time, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
It wakes you up.
Yeah.
Turns off the water, closes it, jumps right into the shower.
Yeah. Everybody else in the sub hates you for a while.
Everybody's awake. They can smell it. They have to clean it. And it's like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Blowing sanitary incident.
So you get out of the military, what do you do?
So I got out in 1982, and that's when, again, the recession was now just kind of peaked out. Inflation was high. You couldn't get a job. Just Reaganomics, and everybody was blaming everybody. And my buddy goes, who was on the sub with me, he got up a year earlier. He goes, hey, everything's good in Texas. We had jobs down here. Come on down here, man. I got a room. So I didn't have a car. All I had was a motorcycle and a sea bag. And I just happened to have a 357-38 there, and I sold it to get money to come to Texas. That's how I started my career.
Yeah.
And I got here, and there was no internet. And when you applied for jobs, you had to drive around to the location, turn in your resume, try to talk to somebody. And my buddy says, just turn in 4 or 5 resumes a day if you can. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have no problems. And 3 months later, I had no job. And he's like, you're doing something wrong. I was like, no. It just, times were tough, man. It finally hit Texas. And that was in March. And it wasn't until July 12th that I actually, so I took a job, third shift at a gas station. Wound up working at a gas station. A Zappa reference there. And was going to school, signed up to go to summer school at the Richmond College in Dallas, and I got a phone call and said, hey, why don't you come on over and interview us for a third shift job? I said, okay. And it paid, people nowadays don't reference how much you get paid. When I was in high school, I got paid $1.65 an hour, and I thought it was good, right?
Yeah.
So I got this job, and it was in telecommunications. And you staged switches, you staged all the frames, you connected them up, you wired them up, you booted all the software on it, you debugged the software, you set it up for the configuration the customer wants, and then you take it all off and you wrap it up and you ship it to the customer site, and they can put it in, and boom.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That's how I got started. And we did that for a while, and then they said, hey, we need volunteers to go to do this new program called Cellular. So I got on the ground floor of your cell phone.
Yeah.
Working on the first cell phones.
Wow.
From the Motorola 800 systems, which was the old radios they had in the car where you had to working on the new cell phones. It was the analog systems. And I staged all the cell sites. Cell site controllers that they put out on the antennas and stuff. And we did our first call with Barry Goldwater in Arizona. Guy sales flew out there. And the call didn't work. The cell site dropped, and they had to bring it back up again, and they finally got it to work. So, but then I went into digital cellular because analog took on too fast. Digital gives you 3 times the capacity. And then we went to different technologies. So from analog to TDMA to GSM to CDMA to all of those technologies. So I spent like 20 years at this company, and then I got laid off in 2001.
2001.
Yeah, but what I can say is that when I was near the end of that company, the last 5-10 years, I got to travel. I got to go to Colombia, South America, Mexico, Israel, Canada a lot, and some of the U.S. And I got to go to Beijing, China once. That's where I went to the Wall of China. Mm-hmm. That was right. In fact, that was right before the English turned over Hong Kong to the Chinese.
Yeah, that worked out.
I was there right like 2 months before that.
Yeah,
and that was very interesting. And that was the old Hong Kong airport in Kowloon. And then I got laid off, and then it's like that was when in 2000 they had the bubble, telecom bubble, mm-hmm. where oh my God, the world's going to come to an end if it hits 1999 to 2000. All the machines are going to crash. Everything's going to break. Oh no! So you had to have Y2K certified.
Yeah.
I don't know when you're probably just 1 year old or 2 year old.
Yeah, I was 1 at the time, but I know all about it. How much? Because I know they did do a lot of work changing the systems and stuff up to that point. But how much of a danger was there ever actually of that?
There was a few pieces of software where you might have stopped working, went through a hiccup or something, but
nothing.
It is blown out of proportion, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of companies took care of business way before that.
Yeah.
But I wrote software, and I'll tell you, if you don't do a error checking is if this, then this, and this.
Yeah.
If it's 1999 to 2000, if it doesn't go to 2000, goes to something else, you need to check for it. But it worked out.
Yeah.
But right at that time, 99, 2000, they said, "Hey, Tom, we want you to do a special project." So they put me on a high priority project to do a rollout of a CDMA in Australia for the 2000 Olympics. So I flew down there, and we had to do a special cell site. So in New South Wales, that would go over 100 kilometers, mm-hmm. the towers and stuff, because of the medical flights, medical emergencies, and all that. The flying doctors is what they call them. And then they had emergencies channels, but they wanted the frequency, so they had to go to CDMA. And so that's what I went down there and managed the introduction of the new cell site controller with the CDMA network. We had already rolled out Sprint in Kansas City in the U.S. Now we're just doing it down there, but we had to use this new cell site. So I went down there to help do that. And got to go to Sydney, lived downtown Sydney for a month or two. Lived in Melbourne for almost a year. I went up to Brisbane for a while. I got a scuba diving certification updated. I dived the Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
I did Sydney Harbor, deep dives. I did Phillip Bay dives. I flew the family over. We went to Fiji for a vacation for a week. And I went scuba diving in Fiji.
So just any bucket list you're kind of filling on, checking off.
Well, I have I'm in Australia. I have the opportunity, so why not?
Might as well go. Huh?
So the kids to this day keep saying, that was the best vacations ever, man. I loved Australia.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned Australia. They're like, when are we leaving? I'm packing my bags.
Yeah. What was it like there?
Oh, man. I back then, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was nice. People were very nice. Depending on where you went, though, is how you got treated.
Yeah.
So for tourists that are listening here, or people who want to go to Australia, Sydney's a transit town. So all the flights, majority of the flights, come through Sydney. Mm-hmm. And then people hang out in Sydney for a week, get on a plane, and go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So the locals, call it locals, don't want to really get to know people.
Yeah.
You're a tourist. Yeah. But if you're a tourist, but you're a local working there, and they see you week after week. Oh man, hey, come on over here. Let's get a beer, man.
Yeah.
Or that kind of thing. And then Melbourne is even better. It has a European culture, and got to go to the footy games.
Yeah.
So, what footy is?
That soccer, Australian football.
It's Australian rules football.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, Yank, it's not gridiron football, which is what we have, as they call it gridiron football. It's Australian rules football. And they used to play it at the Melbourne cricket grounds. And you can run to the, but you have to throw the ball on the ground and pick it back up. You have to dribble the football. Yeah. And it's shaped like a football.
Sort of like a mix between, I think I've seen something, it's kind of like basketball, rugby, and football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in one.
You can only throw backwards, right? Or can you throw forwards?
No, you have to turn around and toss it underhand. You can't throw it overhand. Underhand backwards,
Yeah.
And then you have to kick it through the uprights. And they're narrow.
Yeah.
And then there's two guys on the end in white suits who go like this.
Yeah.
It is very, anyway. So I got to go that. I got to see a guy came up to me and goes, hey, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. Working.
Yeah.
You want to go to the soccer game? I said, who's playing? He goes, oh, the U.S. is and China's playing. I said, yeah, I'll go. Yeah. So I got to see the U.S. and China, and then Sweden played somebody else the game before. So I got to see those in the MCG in Melbourne, Olympic Games. And to be at an Olympic event, wow, different. It's, I don't know how I can explain it.
Yeah.
If people's never been to a Super Bowl or never been to a NFC Championship playoff or nothing like that, the electricity, it's intense.
The amount of excitement.
It's exciting because it's on the international stage and they play the Olympic flags, all the flags.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there watching the game, and the next thing you know, the Secret Service is coming right behind us because we were in the American stadium. Yeah. And Chelsea Clinton comes and sits like 2 rows back. So the Secret Service was surrounding us. Yeah. Because Clinton was the president. But, that was everybody yelling America. Yeah, USA, USA. And then there was, and the next game, I got to see Spain play Argentina. And that's who went to the final. That's who went to the gold medal round.
That's got to be some passionate fans.
And that was, God, those guys are good.
Yeah.
The girls are good, too. They're all good. You don't get to be an Olympian without being good.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of thing I did, and then we deployed that, and I was successfully deployed it. Got it turned up, under budget and on time. So came back, and then they laid me off right after that because telecommunications bubble. Yeah. But unemployed for a while there, and then went to startup. So if people I used to know, hey, we need somebody. Yeah. Come on over. So this one company I went with, we did a box that looked at network and messaging parameters coming in and out of it. It was a GSM network. And thought it was going to be good. We shipped a box over to Italy, to Milan, for Omnitel. We were going to do a trial, so we had to go through their lab to make sure that everything worked first. So they flew me over there, and I did the trial with them and went through that, and then we delivered it to Bologna, Italy. It's north-central Italy. So I got to spend like a month in Italy, and went to where the Ferraris are made. Got to see the Ferrari track, the test track. Yeah. Maserati factory. Got to see the Lamborghini factory. Went to Venice twice. Got to go to the Ravenna, which is on the eastern coast. Then we went to Florence or Firenze. It was beautiful. The Italian people are fantastic. The food's great. I mean, everything. And then from there, they wanted the box, but we ran out of money. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't get the contract. So they got let go again. So I get my next contract. I started doing contract work.
Yeah.
You couldn't find jobs. You do whatever you have to do to keep a family going.
Yeah.
So I got my PMP certification, project management professional. That was not easy. But I've been doing it for years, so now you get the name after it. It helps to get a job.
Yeah.
So I got that, and this contract company said, "Hey, I got just a job for you." And so they sent me to Bermuda in August. Yeah, this time.
Yeah.
And went down there and started. They wanted to bring in a new switch and transfer the switch from up on the hill in downtown Hamilton and with a bit of office rise. And so I got to do that for a while. Worked with different people. Got to know AT&T. Got the owners of the AT&T Bermuda. Got to learn the island. I mean, when you're there, not a tourist.
Yeah.
People will come up to you.
Yeah.
If you're a tourist and they know you're going to be gone in 2 weeks, they don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting things. And then
But that pretty much universal, just...
It's pretty... Yeah, this is...
Yeah. You're going to be gone in a week, I'm not going to try with you. Kinda.
That's why they're like, how long are you going to be here?
Yeah.
We're here for...
Yeah. The next 45 minutes.
I want to be here for a month.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go do something.
Yeah.
They're glad they take you somewhere. Go
Yeah.
to the beach. So, anyways, when I did that, I had already applied to this other job. And they wanted me, but they said, sorry, we don't have the rec. So I took the job in Bermuda, and I was working on the Bermuda job for August, September, October. And a guy calls me up out of the blue and says, you still want that job? Our rec opened back up again. So I said, sure. So I turned it all over, and I started a job with Siemens in Dallas, back in telecommunications, but now it was for optical terminals of the homes, like fiber to the home.
Yeah.
So I got on the ground floor of the fiber to the home projects. And that was very interesting. And I was like, ooh, I want this at my house. So I worked there for a couple of years, and then Siemens sold us to Nokia, then Nokia sold us off to someone else, and then I left there, and I got on with a company I'm with now, and they're based out of, they were based in Munich, a German company, and got to go to Germany, and my boss says, yeah, come on over here every year. I want you to spend at least 1 or 2 weeks over here if you can. You should have a weekend to go do stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got to go. I met my brother in Munich, and then we flew over to Slovakia and did the family tree thing. And I would go over there and just, I knew I had a weekend. I would pick a different city in Germany to go to. I've already went to Italy. I already contracted for a month in Madrid, Spain. So I already did Spain. I did England already.
That's all old news, right? Why even go back?
So that was pretty interesting. Again, this is not your ordinary person, right?
Yeah.
So then I 1 year, I told my wife, I said, yeah, let's go over to Germany. We'll do a week's vacation. So we went over there, and then I got to experience, you heard of Oktoberfest?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a wine type of Oktoberfest. It's called Bad Dürkheim.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go there. So we went there for that. And, oh, my God, the wine tents were everywhere. And really good wines. Same thing, amusement park, foods. And then we drove down and saw Neuschwanstein Castle, the Disney Castle, up in the mountains in Bavaria. And learned about King Ludwig and his father, and then the 2 different castles. And we drove back to Munich, and then the next day we woke up and went to Oktoberfest, the real beer Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Got in there opening day, got a table up on a balcony. I don't know how. I happened to be there before. This is my second time to the Oktoberfest, but I had the family coming. Went as we started drinking liters of beer and going through amusement park rides, and I don't know if you drink beer or not, but there's some good beer in Germany.
Yeah.
Good food and good beer, good people.
That's weird, because it's not like they're known for that or anything.
No.
So I guess while we're on the topic of beer, two things I knew about you before this was you made beer and wine and mead, and that you started running half Ironmans a year or so ago. So
yeah, all that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in the '80s, when I worked for that company with the cellular,
yeah,
it's called Nortel. There were some friends of mine. He got me into making beer. And it's easy, man. You just open the can of this, and you boil it, and put water in it, you ferment it.
Yeah.
And I like Miller Lite. I can't drink Bud. Extreme headaches. So I drink a Miller, and man, it's getting expensive. So it's cheaper to make your own, man. So we started experimenting, and he got some good recipes, and it's, oh yeah, this is the way to go, man. And then went from that to we started into what would it be like if you mix some grain in with that, and don't use just the liquid malt extract. And then you had more control and more flavor. And you go, okay. And what happens if you don't use any liquid? Just use all malt extract, just like they do with the beer thing. And you go, well, it's even cheaper. You can get just a couple pounds of grain for $1 a pound, and you can make 2 cases of beer.
Yeah.
Yeast and some hops. So we started that, and off and on, and I got a bunch of other people involved in it. And then I kind of let it go for a while. And it wasn't until I got the German company, there was 2 guys there that make beer, and this guy goes, oh, no, I'm into it. Come on, we'll get you going back into beer again. So he got me back into making different kind of all grains. But, oh, man, I learned how to experiment with the recipes. I learned the chemistries of it. I learned what you can and can't mix together, what complements and doesn't complement, and what adjuncts you can put into it to make it taste good. So I started entering beer in competitions, and I won a farmhouse ale, 2nd place. I did a clone of a Blue Moon.
Yeah.
And everybody says my beer tastes better than the Blue Moon in the bottle. And then I won a 2nd place on a Belgian beer. And I said, oh, okay.
So when you say a clone of Blue Moon, was that just like trying to get as close to Blue Moon as you can, or did you have like a recipe that was?
Yeah, you go online. Well, see, the internet's a miracle thing.
Yeah. You
can go on and find anything. You can go on, say, Blue Moon recipes, and everybody has their recipe. You go, okay, well, knowing some of the things that works and doesn't work. Now, that recipe would be all right, but they should have done maybe, what this guy did. He added this into it, and I started mixing them.
Yeah.
And version 1, version 2, version 3. Oh, there you go. It's right there. That's the one.
Just experimenting over time and
over
building that
batches.
knowledge. Yeah.
And there's no shortage of people wanting to try your beer out to see if it tastes right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of good. And then I lived in Longview at the time. Moved from Dallas to Longview and tried to get in to start a brew club. And got a whole bunch of people together. And next thing you know, I said, well, I'm getting into wines too. So I started getting these little wine kits that you can buy. It's not like your old Boone's Farm for those people that remember that. But and then I learned from the beer making to that, wine's a lot easier. Wine's a piece of cake to make.
Really?
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Beer is hard. And a lot of things can go wrong with beer. Wine is much more easier. But and then I started doing the kits, and then I said, okay, I don't like those kits. They're too watered down because you have to add a lot of water to it. I want the all juice kits where it's just all grape juice, and you get it pasteurized from the leftovers factories where the vineyards they have extra wine juice and they ship it to you. And the next thing you know, I started doing that. You don't add any water. And then you can start experimenting with different oaks, and you can start experimenting with the roasting of the oaks and the different yeast and how long you put it on there for, and all kinds of different things. So, and then I said, okay, well, I want to try mead. It's just fermented honey. But man, you go to a store, it's $6 a pound.
Yeah. For
a honey, and when a recipe calls for 12 pounds of honey. That's a lot of money just for honey if you screw it up, right?
Yeah.
So you really had to know what you're doing. So I started reading up a lot. I got a book on it, read up on it. And I said, this is just like beer, just like wine. except it's honey. It's a different source of sugar.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize of the 200s and some varieties of honey out there. And then I was like, well, you don't want to, if you mix fruit with it, you don't want to mix this fruit with a clover honey. You want to mix it with like a light orange blossom honey or something else. Or you can get a Tupelo honey to do this, but you can do that honey to do this. And so then you have to learn the flavor profiles. And I started doing that. I entered a cherry mead and got second place for my cherry mead. Oh God, is it good! And then I made some blueberry, ginger, and another mixed mead that I had, and I took it to a guy and entered it in an international wine competition. And I got a gold medal for my mix. I got a silver medal for the mango, and I think it was the orange. I got a bronze medal or something.
Yeah.
So
you felt pretty confident you were doing good at that point.
So everybody's like the same thing. Hey, if you want to share some of that wine or mead, I'll taste it.
Yeah.
So now it's just like I make it to keep my rack full and keep the aging going, because I'm learning that if your red wines that I made, even from back in 2012 and 13, I still have a couple bottles left. And when I open one of those up, oh God, is it good.
Yeah.
Flavor, smooth, perfect. And then the meads are very similar. In fact, last night I gave my sister an orange blossom honey with an orange juice, if you call it blood orange.
Yeah.
But I had soaked. And I roasted orange peels over the fire, charred them, smoked them. And then I soaked them in orange blossom honey for a year, took them out and fermented everything with orange blossom honey. And then I added a bunch of stuff to it, vanilla beans from Madagascar, and some other little things to do different flavor profiles. And she said, God, I opened that up. Oh my God, was that good.
Yeah.
People don't want to share my wine or mead. That's mine. You get your own bottle. So I was like, I must have been a success. So
yeah,
your mother's like.
And that's what I was saying. And we've been sharing it at all our parties now.
oh, you're drinking it too?
Yeah. No, Mom brings it. We go to church with Lynn, so she'll bring them to parties and stuff, and it's good stuff. So. Yeah. So I guess my question is, like, do you like just like kind of different technical, like learning these, like, okay, this is what you mix with this? Is that how you stay interested in all that? Because I'm always interested in like why somebody's obsessed with something.
Well, so everybody tells me, how do you do all this? I said, how do you learn all that? And I said, look, I have an engineering background. I said, oh, say no more.
Yeah,
you're an engineer. Forget it. You know, like, so engineers are pretty anal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a formula. It's a math. Boom, here's the formula. If it doesn't come up with the right answer, something's wrong. So I'm kind of an engineer background, but I also have an art side to me.
Yeah.
I said, that's
I was going to say the
right
mixing
answer,
and everything sounds less like engineer and more like art.
So it heads back to not your ordinary guy thing.
Yeah.
So I have... I haven't even told you about the quilt yet.
No, yeah.
You probably didn't even know about that either, huh? So
I think my mom did say something about, because I was asking, like, how did I start the conversation with him, which wasn't hard at all. And she goes, well, he's into this and this, and I think I saw something about quilting.
Yeah. So anyway, just to make sure I answered the question, get into it. I'm an engineering background. That's how but I like to be pretty precise what I'm doing, and I take measurements. I jot down what I do so I can reproduce it.
Yeah.
And I have this one beer that I made. It's a Scottish ale. I went through 6 variants of it, and I finally got it to where I like it. And then I realized it's good the way it is. But I didn't drink for a couple of months or something. Came back, and it's been sitting in this cooler for like 6 months. And then I tasted it again. I said, oh, God, I got to make this and let it sit for a year.
Yeah.
It was like, I use the expression mother's milk.
Yeah.
God, it just went down so easy. And it's tasty, and it was really good. And it's like, oh. So, yeah. That's the beer and the wine and stuff. But back when I got laid off from Nortel in 2001, me and my two sons, they were teenagers. I said, how better time to spend time with your kids? Those are really influential years as a teenager, the beginning teenager, 11, 12, 13, 14. So my oldest son wanted to do Taekwondo. So we signed him up. And then my youngest son said, well, I'll try it. I said, no. I'll tell you what. Well, if you want to do it, I'll do it with you. And we'll get all three of us to get our black belts together. And I said, okay. So from 2001 to 2003, a little bit beyond, we all went every day, or every 3 days a week, to Taekwondo school, and we got our black belts.
How long did it take you?
3 years, almost 3
3
years.
years.
And my oldest son and I continued on and became teachers. So we were going I went for my green stripe, my red stripe, and I was testing for my black stripe right before second degree.
Yeah.
And he was wanting to do the same thing when they sold the Taekwondo school, and there went that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to teach Taekwondo. So, but I got to do it with my kids. But we had all these belts laying around the house. And I said, what am I going to do with all this? That's a lot of belts. So I cut them all up, washed them, and said, I've always wanted to make a quilt. It was interesting. Let's see what happened. So I cut them up in 4-inch strips, and we made a big, colorful design with all the colors.
Yeah.
And outlined it in black and had embroidered on it our names and had the year when we got our black belts together. And made 2 big pillow shams that match it and stuff like that. And everybody's like, "Ooh, I like that. Why don't you make me one? Why don't you make me one?" So I said, "Okay." So I started doing stuff like that. And then I got a book of patterns and started doing patterns and how to do stuff. And the next thing you know, I was like, my engineering kicked in. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, well, if it's this much, then if it's that hypotenuse, then this must be, the geometry kicked in. And the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, my anniversary, our 25-year anniversary is coming up. Let me try something special. So I did a double wedding ring quilt for my wife. And I entered it in the State Fair of Texas. Won first place. I entered, then I got into the embroidery stuff. I did a quilt. I got 3rd place in the state of Texas, and I got a different quilt. I got honorable mention at the Dallas Quilt Show with like 4th place, which is like, nothing to shake a stick at. That's pretty good, right? And then I got 1st place in baby quilt. I got 1st place in some other stuff. So I have all these ribbons at the house.
Yeah.
And that's why I made everybody a quilt. They all have quilts now. All the kids have something. Every bed in our house has quilts.
Yeah.
So, one of those deals. So yeah, I also got into quilting.
Yeah. So
but to lead you into what I thought we were going to talk about today was with triathlons. So here I am working and making beer and enjoying life, and my son wants to have a house and this and that. So I said, I'll help you remodel it. So we started doing that. And when he was in college, he did a triathlon. And I said, yeah, that's crazy to buy a bike that's $2,000 and this and that. So here we are in 2019. He did the Rose City Triathlon, where we're sitting right here. Mm-hmm. And he goes, come on out, Dad, watch me. So I came out. We had the family here cheering him on. And I got hung up with the atmosphere. It was just such a nice atmosphere, good people. And I said, everybody's excited and everybody's in shape. And this is nice. Because I'm getting old. So here I am, 63 years old. And I way overweight, obese. And I said, I can do this, and then find out I can't swim a half length of a pool without dying. I can't run 100 feet without dying. So he says, well, just keep it up, man, keep it up. So I went, my granddaughter said, hey, Grandpa, can you run a mile with me in the Palestine pink thing? And I said, okay. This was right after that. Right? Mm-hmm. And, there's no way. I ran, walked. She ran circles around me, and she was, 6 years old or something. I was like, yeah. Okay. So I went and got the Couch to 5K app, and I started doing that. And I got to where I could almost run. I still couldn't do 5K without stopping. And it took a while. But after that, I just kept at it. And then I was able to finally do a 5K without stopping. Then I said, okay, let me get to the pool. So I signed up to join the pool. And then, I'll tell you, just to do 25 yards, I felt, yeah. And then it was 50 yards. And then it was 150 yards. And it took a while. And that's when I met your mom. Yeah. It's at the pool in Krista's. And she's going, oh, just keep it up. It'll come. And so she saw me from nothing to being able to go to the pool and do 3,000 yards. It was like, or 3,000 yards, right? 1 or 2 miles. And like she said, man, your strokes are good now. Your speed's good. Your breathing's better. And you're doing good. And then I would give them updates on how I'm doing and all the races that I'm doing. And so everybody there was cheering me on. So and I lost a lot of weight. I lost over 70 pounds. So I could spend time with my grandkids and keep up with them. Yeah. Because now they're 10 and 8 and wanting to do things. And and now I'm ready to retire. And it says, now I can go start doing things. And I did go out and buy a bicycle, but I got it used for $1,500.
Not going to spend that whole $2,000.
And no, that same bike, if you were to buy it brand new today, is like $3,000 or $4,000. Yeah. I was like, pfft. But you know what?
Sort of like a car, huh?
I didn't. Well, yeah, but I didn't realize that at the time. I learned so much about triathlons. Yeah. Just the swimming, the technique, the littlest little change that you make can make a huge difference in swimming, and just your breathing and your stroke and your power and just everything. Yeah. Same thing with biking. It's the fit of the bike. I thought I was doing good to get 12 miles an hour, pedaling, and I was like, something's wrong here. And I said, go get fitted for the bike. So I went and finally got fitted. It got fitted by in Tyler here, by John Cobb. And he said, oh, you're all wrong. You need to do this. This seat's this way. You need to go this way. You need to do this. And then I went out and got on the bike. And it's like, oh, my God, it almost pedals itself.
So what exactly is fitting? Is that just adjusting heights of seats and handlebars? Or?
Yeah, everybody's legs are different, are not the same. Yeah. Your legs could be this long, mine's or this longer, or this somebody, the torso is shorter or bigger, the arms are longer or shorter. Yeah. And one bike doesn't fit all. You got to go get fitted. So when you buy these big high-dollar bikes, they fit you for them. So they put you in a stand and put your seat down, and they have angles of where your thighs and your knees to your ankles and where it should be. And they look at your power, your stroke, to see if you're getting max power on your pedals. And then when you're over the handlebars, you don't want to have back pains and stuff. You want to have the right seat. Yeah, holding the handlebars right. And then if you have aero bars, they have to be right. And you have to have the helmet on. You have to be right at the angle. I mean, there's just so much to it. How high you are in the seat. So they adjust the seat height, where your seat is in relationship to the pedals. Your handlebars are here. And they raise your seat up. It lowers you in the front. But there's all kinds of little measurements they do. Yeah. But all that is great for fitting you, but it's still the muscle behind the brain. Yeah. So you said you were doing 12 miles per hour before. What was your speed like afterwards? Yesterday I did a triathlon in Rockwall, and my average was 19.41. Wow. So that was the average. Yeah. That was up and down hills. Yeah. I was usually in straightaways doing 15 or 16, pedaling all out. Now I could pedal 26. and not have a problem.
Yeah.
But you got to keep it up for a long time. So I'm doing this training on my trainer.
Isn't going to get you to 26 miles by itself.
No.
Yeah.
Just the fitting is not. It takes breathing. It takes your learning your legs, fatigue.
Yeah.
You have to do core. You have to do all the strengthening muscles of your back, your lower abdomens, and stuff like that. And I tell you what, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Just how you walk, how you feel. Forget the bike. Just general mental ability. Just walk around the house.
Yeah.
And I can bend over now. I can bend over and pick up. So I can put my palm on the floor in front of me, my toes.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that. There's not a lot of people in their 40s that can do that.
Yeah.
So keeping limber and stuff like that is fantastic.
So what do you? I mean, besides the obvious health benefits and stuff, like what do you enjoy about it? Is it because I mean everything you've talked about, it's these little details, these little measurements. Again, that's
the engineer coming on.
Yeah.
You see?
So is that what is it? It's all these things coming together to where you see like your final product, like with the beer or the quilting or the, even the cellular stuff.
I keep doing everything.
Or is it like the actual doing it itself that you find enjoyable?
Well, I keep doing it to be perfection at it, and that's why my wife will get on my case. You're just a perfectionist. Yeah. I said, yeah. Okay, I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
But I'm always satisfied that I completed a project.
Mm-hmm.
And like to finish a quilt, you think it's fine until when you put that binding on, and it just ties everything together. Oh, there you go, satisfaction.
Yeah.
The beauty of it, the art. So the cool thing is the art side, but it also has the engineering side to it. But it's just beautiful. The tasting of the beers is just, that's a good beer, man. I don't want to drink all that right now and hold on to that and savor it.
Yeah.
So same thing with triathlons. To be able to finish, I only have two goals when I do a race: finish it and have fun.
Yeah.
Anything else is a bonus. So if you can finish it, that's just one thing. But if you can finish it and you enjoy having fun and it feels good afterwards, and you sit around, you talk to people. I'm an outgoing social person, if you haven't noticed by now. I like that kind of stuff.
I'm not sure, we're only like an hour in right now.
Yeah. So, it's just the experiencing it.
Yeah.
And then the run piece is my worst piece, and I've been really hard trying to get that to work, and sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. You go, okay, what can I do better next time? You always have to look at what can I do better? How can I make it better? That's the perfectionist coming out. But you also have to realize there's reality. At 63, you just can't go do something that you can do at 23 or whatever.
Well, I think athletic ability-wise, you may be beyond me right at this point. So.
Well, like these kids, I'm running along at a 10-minute pace.
Yeah.
A 10-minute mile pace. And these kids just go boop, brrr, right by me.
Yeah.
Man, how fast are they going? They must be at a 6.5 or 7-minute pace. I think, man. Or all these cross-country or whatever they do. But they're really good people. These young kids. And then I realized, here the engineering come back, there's a thing called VO2 max. It's the velocity of oxygen absorbed by the lungs.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, it's really easy because your muscle mass is low. Your lungs are, if you did everything right, you're not smoking and whatever.
Yeah.
You're not clogging your capillaries up, so you can actually absorb more oxygen, more to your muscles, and you can perform better.
Yeah.
As you get older, guess what happens? It goes downhill. So my VO2 max when I started was like 27 or 28. Now it's at 40.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people say, be lucky it's at 40. If at your age, you're doing good.
Yeah.
So it goes from the 50s and 60s when you're young, and then it starts going down. Like, so this is an uphill battle from now on. If I want to stay feeling this way, I need to keep going.
Yeah.
And then the endorphins after the race, man, it's like, yeah, even though you're tired, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to go into Ironmans because most of what you're doing isn't. Was this half Ironman? Was that the first one you've done, or have you done them before?
Oh no.
And just
at 63, I started and I did sprints.
Yeah.
So there's a ladder of hierarchies on these. They're all triathlons.
Yeah.
It's 3 sports: swimming, in this order: swimming, biking, and running.
Yeah.
Super sprints are for the beginners. It's like 100, 150 yards. And you do a 5 or 10 mile bike ride, and then you do like a 2 mile run.
Yeah.
It gets you into the sport. And triathlons by no means is a cheap sport. It can be really expensive if you want to go buy all the gear and stuff like that. So you don't have to buy all that. Just get whatever you have to get started. Then you go to sprints. And super sprints are in the pools mostly. Sprints is where you branch out to pools and open waters, or lake or river swims. And those are typically 750 yard swims in the lake, or 300 to 400 yards in a pool if it can handle it. Because a lot of the pools or aqua centers only have so many lanes. You can only do so many yards back and forth when you do a snake through the lanes. So 300 to 750, depending if it's pool or lake. And then the bike is usually 12, sometimes 10, but 12 to 15 miles on the bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's always a 5K. And that's where you really should spend most of your time getting form, learning how to transition.
Mm-hmm.
Go to transition from swimming to biking. You got to get rid of your goggles, your hat. You got to put on socks if you're going to wear them, shoes. Get on the bike. You have a helmet, your whatever sunglasses you're going to put on. Do whatever you're going to do, and then you take off and you come back, and you got to that transition is timed.
Mm-hmm.
Adds time to your total score. Same thing. You come back from the bike, get the helmet, do that. Type on your bib with your racing number on, your running shoes, and whatever else you're going to put on, if you're knee braces and whatever's. And then you head out on the run, and it's a 5K. So your time on this is your swim when you jump in, you stop when you get out, then they time you from the time you get out till the time you get the bike crosses the mark to get on and go out for the ride. That's transition 1. Then you do the bike, you come back, you change over to the next sport. That's transition 2, and then you run, and then you come across the finish line. All those times together is what your time is for finish.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is your bread and butter triathlons, and that's what you'll see most of. Lately, I have to go look for Olympic triathlons. That's what you'll see at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Is the Olympic triathlon, and that's a 0.9 mile swim, or 1,550 yards, and open water. You're not going to have any pools that can do that.
Yeah.
You have had a whole bunch of lanes to do that. But it's open water, and open water is a whole different swim.
Mm-hmm.
It's different technique, different swim. You can't just push off the wall. You can't stand up in the shallow area, take a breath, and go again. When you're in the water, you're in the water, and you don't get out until you're finished.
Mm-hmm.
And when you swim here, there's no life preservers, there's no vests, there's no float devices, no floaties. You're in the water by yourself swimming. But anyways, so the Olympic, it's a 1,550 swim, typically. You come in, and then it's a 25-mile bike ride. So you just doubled what you would have done in the sprint. You come in off the bike ride, and trust me, your legs will feel the bike ride, because when you get off and get your running shoes on, you go start to run, and this is the same thing with all the other sprints. You can experience dead legs.
Yeah.
Because you're used to pedaling using your quads. Now you got to use your hamstrings to run with, and it's like, oh, God, I can't move.
Yeah.
So the first 100 yards or so, you have to really break into that. So it's called a brick run in practice, but they're very important in order to get going on the run. And then the run on the Olympic is 10 kilometers. So it's a 10K.
Yeah.
So last year was my first full year doing triathlons, and I wanted to do at least one of those to experience it. So I did one at Fort Worth on October 2nd. And that's the other thing you can't practice for, but it happens. Is your chain comes off, or something good gets in your way, or you fall down, or whatever. So flat tire. You run into a car in front of you that pulled out and wasn't supposed to there. All those happened to me one day.
All in one day?
So I tried to compensate for it and blew out my quad on the right
that's
side. And then I was trying to run, and I just, there's no way I could run. I tried to do 12.5-minute pace for 10K, and it's like, I finished.
Yeah.
My goal, finished. And have fun. I finished it. So you have to joke about it, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, so I was out of my... Things happen.
Yeah.
So, and then I said, okay, that was, I can do this. I could probably do a half Ironman. So the next stuff up is a half Ironman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit different. What you experience in the sprint, you think it's hard at first. You have to learn how to do everything. And you have to watch your hydration and nutrition a little bit. And it's a little bit more, hydration and nutrition is more important at the Olympic. When you get to half Ironman, you better have your hydration and your nutrition down.
Yeah.
Because when you go into the water, it's a 1.2 mile swim, or 1,850 yards. And you come in, and it's a 56 mile bike ride. And at 56 miles, you have to eat on the bike. So you have to know how to balance and drink and eat at the same time. Because you don't want to eat.
What are you eating? Like Cliff Bars or?
Well, a lot of people eat different things. Some are homemade concoctions. There's a lot of store-bought stuff you can buy.
Yeah.
And when you get to the half iron level, they actually have nutrients at the aid stations for you. Like they'll have an orange for you, or a banana, or they'll have what they call goo. It's a gel.
Yeah.
That you can eat. It's more carbs to give you energy.
Yeah.
But you have to be eating something every hour. And this 56-mile bike ride is, for me, I did my first one, this one here, as a memorial in Galveston, April 3rd. And my bike ride took me 3 hours and 23 minutes. And, yeah, you have to drink. So I have a 30 or 40-ounce container on my bike that with a hose comes up. Mm-hmm. And you should go through 2 of those containers in that 3.5 hours. You have to force yourself to drink. Then I have you can tape your goos on your frame and just rip them off and just squirt them in and stick in your pocket in the back and get going again and then drink.
So you were talking about your water container. You got to go through that many.
Yeah.
Are there like side stations where you can stop and refill?
So they have aid stations. They're 15 miles.
Oh, okay.
About 15 miles. So, and then with a porta-johns.
Yeah.
And so you slow down, you grab the bottle, you don't ever stop in front of an aid station.
You're going to get ran over.
Yeah, you'll run into somebody.
Yeah.
And break their arms.
Yeah.
Man, I've never seen so many people getting hurt at a triathlon than I did a half Ironman.
Really?
We had one person die.
Yeah.
On the swim part.
You're putting yourself through that much strain, and then you got bike wrecks, and I can imagine.
Yeah, you don't want to get a bike wreck and get really hurt. Sometimes you hurt the bike or break something, and you can't get back. You have to wait for the support truck, if it can get them, to pick you up. So you have to know that, and you have to know via sweat test how much you sweat and how many nutrients you need, like how much salt you should be taking in, how much electrolytes you need, that kind of thing. And Gatorade endurance is all right for a little bit, but you should. I have my own mix that I mix up, and then I use that on top of it, plus the goose, plus I take a little, like a peanut butter sandwich, cut up into fours with some peanut butter and some jelly or something on it, or I get they have these waffles with a cream inside. It's a carb paste.
Yeah.
A stroop waffle, I think is what they call it. It's just different things. But
Yeah.
if you have a tri suit, it has 3 pockets in the back. You can just reach in the back and grab it and pull out of your pocket. And as you're in the thing, you rip it off and just eat it. Suck on the water and keep going. You never stop pedaling.
Yeah.
So this is what I say. This is the leg muscles.
Yeah.
You have to train them. So when you're starting out, it's not a race, a mad race at the finish to start. It's a long race. Take your time and learn how to do it right and build up.
Yeah.
And it helps eliminate injuries along the way. But once you get done with the 56-mile bike ride, you come in, put your bike on, put your hat on, your bib number on, your shoes, and you start running out again. Now you're doing a half marathon. 13.1 miles. And that was my first ever Ironman, half Ironman was in April, and God, that was tough.
Yeah.
The run was, it was getting warm in the afternoon. And you just sweat so much. You drink and you can eat. And then those aid stations, they have like potato chips and pretzels with salt in them.
Yeah.
And they have Coke to get you the sugar rush if you need it. And then they have the Gatorade, they have water, they have all kinds of different things at these the aid stations. The Ironmans are real good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to a full Ironman, but
I mean, half sounds like enough for me.
yeah. Well, I did the half in April, and then I said, okay, I learned there's a lot I need to learn, and I train on specific things to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I did another half Ironman in the Poconos Mountains in New York, Pennsylvania border in June. I went on my back for a family reunion. I said, why don't I just do this? And I finished second place in my age group on that one. And Ironman in Galveston, I finished like 16th by age group. And it was 3,500 foot gain on the bike. And I had the wrong sprocket on my bike.
Yeah.
I had it for flat, not on for hills. The gearing was wrong. But still, I didn't do too bad. I finished Galveston in 7 hours and 23 minutes, and I finished this in 7 hours and 36 minutes. So I can't complain.
No, you...
And a full Ironman.
I mean, you act like this is, nothing, but... I mean, you may have me out there for 4 days trying to do what you did in 7.5 hours.
Yeah. At my age.
And you're 65
years old.
65, so...
Yeah.
And that's after being self-described obese 2 years before.
Yeah, I went from 270 to 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So the full Ironman, for those folks out there that want to know, is a 2.4 mile swim. So you're going to be in the water swimming for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You got to get out, get on the bike, and then you're going to go for 5 or 6 hours on the bike to do 112 miles. And then you're going to come back off the bike, and then you're going to run a full marathon. And I keep saying, why would somebody want to do that to themselves? But everybody says, man, the endorphin high after that is incredible for days. Like, well, good for you.
So that's my next question is, after even this half marathon, I think about like a full day's hard working, how exhausted I am after that. What's what's your body telling you after you finish that?
Well, they're very interesting. In Galveston, I got off, finished with it. I ran across the finish. I slowed down before I went through the gate. They say, you're not in for a medal placement. You're not going to get first, second, third. Enjoy the runway. They have a red carpet for 100 yards, lying on both sides of people cheering you as you're running through here. Oh, I can't explain how good that feels. And then you see the clock up there, and then you run through, and yay! Then they hand you your medal. They hand you a water. They got this hat.
Yeah.
And I walked over just drinking water, and my wife got a picture of me and stuff. And it's like you're glad you finished, and it's like, oh my God, I just don't believe I did that. And they have food sitting in there, like pizzas and stuff. I went in there and I got a Coke. I never drink Coke, so I got a Coke and a slice of pizza. And I just had to have something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I met with my wife afterwards. They look at my stats and stuff. And then you got to go to the transition area and get all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was already, the last bike had already come in. And then you're allowed to take all your bikes out of the transition and go home. So for all those people that already finished it hours ago. So I got in there and I went to bend over to pick up my shoes to put in the tri bag. And I was like, oh, I couldn't bend over.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, God. I was so stiff. You have to keep moving. And I was like, oh, I'm tired, but it took me a while to get everything in my bag because she's not allowed in the transition area. Mm-hmm. I have to do it. Got everything in there, put your backpack on, get your bike off the rack, get the helmet. And then I walked it out, and I walked back to the hotel, which is a couple hundred yards. Luckily, I got the hotel there. I got back to the room, and I took a nice hot shower and said, oh, God, I'm stiff. I just wanted to stay in the hot shower. I wanted a hot tub.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a hot tub. Well, yeah, they had a hot tub down at the pool, but she didn't want to go. So I just sat in the tub for a little bit, got out, and thank God my son had one of those massage gun things. And I started doing my legs, because my legs were like, and my lower back was starting to hurt. Hence, I was, okay, I didn't train enough on core. I didn't train enough in the glutes. I needed to do this. I needed to do that. And it took me a little bit, well, that massage gun helped. And we went out and got a burger or something, came back, and I was in bed. I fell asleep at 8 o'clock, and I woke up at 8 o'clock. I was boom out, and I got up, and I went down, and I did another 500-yard swim just to loosen up.
Yeah. I
came back, and I was like, okay, I could probably do a sprint triathlon now. I felt fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Because all I could think of was like, how does he get out of the hotel room by the time they have to check out?
No, I was swimming at back, and I already had breakfast, and then got my herb breakfast, and then we checked out and put everything in the truck, and that was the worst part, is driving the 3.5 hours back from Galveston. You're sitting in the truck, and my legs are like starting to go stiff. Like, oh. So you just got to loosen up and keep loose, and just keep. Don't stop. You got to move.
Mm.
So when I did the Poconos, she didn't go with me. She had to come back for something else. So I stayed there, did it by myself. I had that massage gun. I came back after that race. I laid down on the track. We finished on a high school track.
Yeah.
I went through, got the water, went over. The announcer wanted to talk to me. And I lay down, and I heard my back going. I said, oh, I felt good. I got up, and he said, hey, you won second place, man. Let's get a picture of you over here. Come on over here. Get on the stand.
Yeah.
So I was there. I did that, and I went up, got some food, and went to the transition, and I had no problems getting the bike, getting the stuff off the bag, and putting it in the truck, and then I drove back to the hotel, took a shower, and I was like, I walked up to the restaurant, and I had a nice big salmon meal afterwards, and said, oh, yeah, this is nice, man. I spent the extra night at a hotel that I didn't want to check out because I was by myself. I didn't want to drive to Texas from Pennsylvania. And watched a movie and went to sleep, got 12 hours of sleep, got up in the morning and said, let's go, man. They had Olympic triathlon, or they had a sprint triathlon going the next day. And I was like, maybe I should go over and see if I can do that. Just to see what it's like.
You're insane, man.
I'm like, nah, I better get on the road.
So what's the end goal with this? Are you going to try a full Ironman at some point, or?
I have no intention of doing a full Ironman at this time.
Yeah.
But I am going to retire at the end of this year from my job. I think 50 years of working is enough.
Yeah.
And my financial guy said, yeah, you can do it. Whenever you want to do it, do it. So I told my boss, and I'm retiring at the end of this year. So I signed up for another Ironman, Florida, December 11th. I'll be traveling down there for vacation. for 2 weeks. I'll be in the Orlando area, and I'm going to do the half Ironman in Orlando, December 11th, and then that's the last one this year. And then I'm taking 2 weeks off on vacation and just to enjoy in Florida.
Yeah.
And come back here, turn my computer in, and then I don't know. My wife says I have too many hobbies.
But you might not have enough.
Well, I bought a guitar when I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
An acoustic guitar, Yamaha.
Yeah.
In 1976. And I still have that guitar. And I putz around on it once in a while. I need to take lessons, learn how to do it right. Or go get one of those keyboards and learn how to play piano or something.
Yeah.
That's another one of those satisfaction when you can finally do a song.
And
somebody will enjoy it, listening to you. To me, that means the world.
Yeah.
But it's too many hobbies. So beer and wine, mead, quilting, more triathloning, I also golf.
Yeah.
But I live right across the street from a golf course. I was like, But if you have nobody to do it with, it's hard to be self-motivated. So that's another one of those, doing all of this, I have nobody to do anything of this with. It's like, I have to motivate myself to do it and read up and try to keep motivated. So when I talk to people about it, that's why it might come across as exciting, because it's something, it's like, oh, finally somebody wants to hear. Okay, here, let me tell you about this.
No, I find that the most interesting is when somebody's passionate about something. I love hearing that. That's the Fortune Fire guy. That's the meal prep guy I just talked to used to do powerlifting. All these people, they find something interesting. There's something there. Yeah. Something inspiring, something we can all relate to, I think.
Yeah, so everybody tells me, you're going to be so bored when you retire, right? You're going to go nuts. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can kind of see me doing that. I just can't spend any more money on new hobbies. I gotta
find some free hobbies. Huh?
Yeah. I also got a nice Harley Davidson motorcycle that I can just go putz around on, drive around, visit people or whatever. I also played steel tip darts. I was a captain of a dart team for years and years and years in Dallas, and worked my way up to the big classic league. And then I joined the ADA and started trying to compete in national or regionals in the Texas area. And I never really completed it, but I actually ranked 236 or something.
Yeah.
In the U.S. Still,
I like how casually you're like, I just won first place on this. I got 200th out of everybody. I got I got second place on this at
our team
65.
Our team won the B League. We won the Rookie League. We won the A1, A2. We never did win Classic. We were always second place.
Yeah.
Never won Classic League. So.
Well, Tom, this has been fun. You're beyond an unordinary person, I'd say.
Unordinary. You're not your normal person.
Yeah. No, you have an incredible story. I've loved listening to all of it. I'm sure people love hearing it. Thank you so much for giving me this interview, man.
No problem, man.
Oh, hey there. Look at you. You made it to the end. You're a pretty unordinary person yourself. Most people don't do that. While you're here, why don't you like and subscribe or follow or whatever it is. And also, we're on Instagram and Facebook. So you should probably go check those out too. Thanks for listening. You're pretty cool.